Governor Mike DeWine signed an executive order requiring all state employees to return to the office. Permanent state employees are required to return to the office after working remotely following the COVID-19 pandemic. Governor DeWine mentioned in his executive order the Department of Administrative Services can grant exceptions if they deem it necessary. One of these exceptions are field workers or agency employees where no reasonable in-office employment is possible. State employees have until March 17th to go back to the office.